It's the book of Micah, chapter 2, and verse 1. I'm going to read the subtitle. It says, Woe to the oppressors. Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. Scriptures tell you in the book of Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the Lord set Esau up to be the creature or the creation to bring forth this beast system. That's why he's in a position. He got the technology. That's why it's playing out the way it plays out. I remember one time a brother said, how do you know something's the will of the Lord? When it takes place, when it happens. Man's will and the will of the Lord is two different things. Scriptures talk about suffering wrongly. The scriptures talk about, you can pray for certain things, but the Lord, if it's in the Lord's will, that's when you'll receive it. Bruce Lee made a famous statement. He said, don't pray for an easy life, but pray for the strength to endure a hard one. And as a hopeful believer, we all should be in that same spirit, I'm going to skip down to verse. I'm going to start at verse 6. Prophesy ye not, say to them that prophecy. Salakia. Prophesy ye not, say they to them that prophesy, they say not prophesy to them, that they shall not take shame. O thou that art named the house of Jacob, is the spirit of the Lord straitened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? Verse 8, even of late my people is risen up as an enemy. Ye pull off the robe with the garment from them that pass by securely, as men averse from war. Because at the end of the day, 2/3 of the nation of Israel are some of the biggest antichrists, some of the biggest, opponents to the Heavenly Father's will. Again, America's worse off. I'm talking about not just for, Jake or Israel or Yasharallah, but for the heathen as well. Everybody's taking a beating. Luckily, I don't got no credit cards. I with the spirit of the beloved elder apostle. He said I had them, and then I said fuck them. Because again, it's so easy to get into debt with this system. Seriously, when people got to use credit cards to buy food, that show you the state of Babylon the Great, aka America. Verse 9, the women of my people have ye cast out from their pleasant houses, from their children have ye taken away my glory forever. Verse 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you even with a sword destruction. And because, a lot of people, especially 2/3 of the nation of Israel, have fallen for this American dream, which again is truly in reality a nightmare. What is that? It's a word called hoodwink. I believe they made a couple movies titled Hoodwink. That's mean when you've been pretty much you've been tricked. And who is the ultimate, you pretty much been deceived. That's what it's called, hoodwinked. And who's the ultimate deceiver? Esau, Edom, So, that's why the scripture's talking about rise up and depart from this system. I'm going to get another one. And then I'm 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11, and reads, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. I'm going to read it in NLT, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. Because the Lord, if he's supping with you, you're going to see through a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to say that, the scriptures talk about even if the Lord pretty much doesn't speed up the time, even the very elect will pretty much be deceived, You got AI videos. You can't tell some of them videos if they real or not. Sometimes you can. I know I can. But sometimes, you like, and just imagine that though. Like these motherfuckers want to bring back dead people. That show you how once you get into the entertainment industry, you sell your soul for real. They basically profiting off of these people's likeness. When you go into that movie, it's a Quentin Tarantino movie, and it got Brad Pitt in it, and pretty much Bruce Lee's supposed to have a cameo in it, but they take a guy, and like his daughter, like I said, I wish my daughters was in that spirit, or I pray they have a spirit like her, because she took offense to it. So pretty much the whole country of China boycotted the movie. But he was able to take his likeness and pretty much say that Bruce Lee fought Brad Pitt, whatever character Brad Pitt played. You know, and then he made Bruce Lee very arrogant, which Bruce Lee wasn't arrogant. Bruce Lee was so humble. He taught, you know, secrets of his, his martial art. That was true. He taught martial arts to, you know, people that wasn't deemed, you know, especially Jake, you know, and literally like I heard Michael J. White say Bruce Lee wasn't a fighter, but that's documented. He got fucked up for fighting a dude. Right. But Bruce Lee was so cold, they said that on the movie sets, motherfuckers would come up there and challenge him. So again, you know, I get where Michael J. White coming with it, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, I get what he said and whatnot, you know, because again, that's why they make weight classes. But I've seen a lot of little guys beat up big guys many times, you know. So, and it ain't about the size of the dog, it's about the size of the fight in the dog, you know. But I'm gonna start off by giving all praise, all honor, all glory to call Elohim Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kodash, double honors to the elders, to my apostles that taught me this truth, peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith, as well as with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and Aqua out there listening and learning, Lord willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribing to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. Brother Yahweh, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yahweh meaning He is, He exists, or He to be. Ba'ashem, Ba'as in, Haz Dashem, His name. Yahushai meaning He saves, or He deliverer. True names of the Most High God and His Son, who these people ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ, but whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This lesson is inspired by, I watched this particular dude, his channel called Maverick Approach, and like I said, I think he juiced in because he know a lot. Then he be talking about Grand Rise, and so you don't know what this nigga into. You got to remember, you know, Esau and Freemasonry copies a lot of Egyptian rituals. You know, I had a book called The Satanic Masonic Egyptian Connection. And, you know, they trace back all the different rituals that they all do that's kind of similar, you know. So, without further ado, let me play copyright disclaimer. So, you know, how does Satan get down? So, fair use, fair use.
Remitly helps turn hard work into steady progress by keeping your money in play.
Just copyright disclaimer, fair use. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute. So let me play the video. You know, I'm glad that the elder brought up, he was like, you know, Alex Jones, as much as said about it, he said he don't care who uses his information, you know. I was like, damn, that's deep. Hold on. I know. Oh, there it goes, Salaki.
Wave in Europe, like, what's going on? It could be Agenda 2030, only because, again, going back to in Europe, like, what's going on? It could be Agenda 2030, only because, again, going back to Venezuela. So Caracas had that 7.2, 7.5, buildings were collapsing. Guess what Caracas has planned for 2030?
Don't say a smart city.
They have a smart city plan for 2030, posted by the World Economic Forum.
Oh, you can't make this shit up.
So what's interesting about this plan, though, is that they're saying they want the age range from 20 to 35 to lead this new push into the city, only because.
And that makes a lot of sense why, like, a lot of the technology, you know, I remember the elder, he into the computer. My dad was like that. I remember when my dad got up in age, when, you know, somebody gave him a computer, I think my aunt or somebody, and he was all into it, like, yeah, I'm ready to learn how to play. But I remember my mother, she saw the computer and was like, that's the devil, it's Satan. And I was looking at, you know, the difference between men and women. But to a degree, she was right. To show you how the Lord got a sense of humor, you know what I mean? Because again, you do this AI shit. I heard the elders say, you know, they talk about the demons getting into the AI. Yeah, why you think I said to catch it before the hanging? That make a lot of sense to me.
The older generation isn't going to accept a smart city. So what they're essentially saying is, being that you're either a millennial.
So that's why they coming after the youth. You know what I mean? When you take the time to think about it, I know I have trouble teaching my children certain concepts like math and reading and shit. Not like that, but at one point, you know, but then they know how to work technology without being taught the shit. Ain't that funny? It's like they actually studied their brains and created this technology for them. So of course they're gonna come after the youth. I think that's in the scriptures.
or Gen Z, and later you're going to be more susceptible and be easier integrated into a system like a smart city.
So translation, easier to indoctrinate because
exactly, you're already there.
You're already in it.
The game predicted this. Call of Duty, Ghosts, in the game where it's based in 2027 to where Caracas was in ruins and then it got rebuilt into a smart city. This is in the game. And not after they capture their leader.
And that was in the game.
And that was in the game.
Come on. I'm tired of this shit. Yeah, all this shit is EA Sports.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
Now, Jamaica, not too long ago, had their whole situation.
Wait, what happened in Jamaica?
They got decimated. I believe it was a natural disaster. It was something that happened that decimated the city.
Yeah, it was a Category 5 hurricane that was in Jamaica.
After that happened, people start pulling up certain documents. They're like, is there a smart city plan? Yeah, there is actually.
Wow.
There's a smart city plan for Jamaica. There's a smart city plan for Asheville as well. Remember Asheville? All these smart cities are popping up to where these natural disasters are happening. Same thing with Caracas. And what's interesting is that they're calling it Freedom City, which is the same name in America.
Whatever area where, those Israelis decimated, what was that, the Palestinians or whatnot, the Gaza Strip, I think they talking about turning that into a smart city. I'm not for sure. I can't remember, there's so much going on. I don't know if I did a lesson on this, but nonetheless, it's great information because more than likely, just like with these data centers, that chick, Erin Brockovich, pretty much got a map to show you where all the data centers are being built. And to show you how simple everybody is. But then again, they not gonna tell you how many people probably protesting this shit. Look how many people protested 5G, and what's happened? We still got 5G, right? So I mean, again, it's to the point now they just like, you can't think for yourself. We're gonna think for you. And again, when you take time to think about this, like I heard the elder break it down, I was like, yeah, that make a lot of sense. He was like, well, you wondering why they trying to build this shit when you got all these people and they losing money on the AI. He said, but when the culling comes, the AI is not going to be, it's going to be more beneficial at that point, So again, when you figure out that they, pretty much tokenize water, it pretty much is a commodity. Like I said, again, they're not going to feel or bat an eye when they stop certain communities from getting water because now water is a commodity. Ain't that about a bitch? It's something that was God-given that you going to just basically monetize. The devil.
That Trump is trying to build. That's one of his initiatives. He wants to build cities to where...
This shit don't sound free. That's what I was going to say. It's always invert this shit. It's always inverted. So like Freedom City is the opposite. Like everything's going to be totalitarian.
Right. Who's free?
AI. They're going to know everything. Your face is scanned. 15-minute city. Like,
I don't feel for that free.
That's not free. None of it's free.
That's the thing, though, because if they do offer UBI, you are essentially living for free, but now you're a product to the government.
But see, it's all in the language. Freedom City. This is freedom.
Right.
UBI. Come check this check. Live for free. Freedom. Yeah. It's in the language.
It's in the language.
They're already trying to drip feed what it's rolling out.
So again, that's why you gotta. Scripture says, "Never trust thine enemy." You're dealing with the devil. You got to remember how this man got this land. It wasn't by discovery; it was by force, the use of force, and that's what the scriptures say: the violent take of it by force. But it's a judgment for the violent. That's why Revelation 13 says, "He that leadeth by captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth by the sword shall be killed by the sword." And then they don't want their judgment. But it doesn't matter because, again, it's not up to what we want. It's the will of the Lord. So I'm going to end it with this, the book of Revelation, chapter 13. Try to get it. I might not have a lot of time to bring this out, but it says, Revelation 13 and 11, and it says, the beast from the earth. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And that goes into this Babylonian political system, and that's mirrored after ancient Rome. Pretty much they you got the Republicans and the Democrats, and they give you the illusion of having choice, but in actuality they both further the system's plans to bring forth the order they want. For instance, when you look at Biden opened up the floodgates and allowed all the migrants in, and Trump basically came and now you give him a position to actually go after the migrants. And people are so upset. It reminds you of Hunger Games. People are so upset at how the conditions of living is, instead of being upset at the government that started the whole dilemma from the first place. They want to be mad at the individuals that actually you allowed in here just it's stupidity. It says he had 2 horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and because the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, and he doth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, being his technology, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. You know, everything is, a lot of stuff, you know, how America runs is based off of ancient Rome, Roman numerals. You know, you got to be able to speak Latin to be a lawyer, and I believe a doctor as well, you know. So ancient Rome was the beast that died, but, you know, again, it was the deadly wound, but it was healed. So this is Rome 2.0. You know, you saw Elon Musk throw that Roman salute, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Isn't Elon Musk as well as DJ Trump saying, if you got anything against America, you should be able to be deported? So if you're not down with this system, yeah, expect persecution, because it's in their scriptures. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And when you go to that word mark, it's charagma, or charagma, which means incision. You know, so it's going to be a tiny technology or a piece of device that's going to be inserted into your either your hand, left or right, or your brain. Because it says, again, it says rich or poor, free or bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So this whole smart city situation is all pretty much leading up to, you know, the beast system. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of your power, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh Bashem Yahshua, you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Bashem. Double honors to the elders, to the apostles that taught me the truth, peace and salutations to the Akim across the 4 corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aqua out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, Lord, willingly, shalom, shalom, Kwame Yasharala, and Mawaf Lababal.